Okay. All right. Welcome everybody to the day 5 of the DoraHacks Hack-a-TONx onboarding week. Today we have with us Dan Volkov. Dan is the Chief Technology Officer of Ton Wales. He's an active contributor to Ton Library, VS Code extension, and other tools. Ton Wales is a community project that covers everything from non-custodial wallets to NFTs, all the way to staking. Getting data from contracts with smart contracts in Ton with Dan is going to be a very informative session. And just a friendly reminder from housekeeping perspective that the recordings will be live and it will be offered as a way of link after the fact. So if you miss it from today's link, you can always review it afterwards. And lastly, if you have questions, please type them into the Telegram chat at Hack-a-TONx. We have a special topic where you can ask questions, and Dan will select 3 questions at the end to answer live. So I'll hand over the mic to Dan.
Thank you, Justin, for introduction. Okay, let's start. So our theme today is getting data from contracts. We will use Ton library and public HTTP APIs. So why it is a problem? The data in contracts is structured in compact, complicated way, like everything in Ton. So even if in Ton everything is itself, in contracts it does so too. So the data is in cells, and you have several ways to get it from it. First, I want to start about APIs. I use 2 public APIs. First one is Ton Center HTTP API, and the second one is Ton API v4. It's created by Ton Wales, and we use it in every our project. So this is the examples of creating clients for these different types of APIs. Let's start. Let's imagine we have a contract code. It is taken from public token contract repository. It is NFT collection. Okay, so what do we have? We have data and data structure. We have get methods, get collection data, get NFT address by index, variety params, get NFT content, and so and we want to retrieve some data from it. So at first we can check what get methods a contract has and use client APIs to get data from them. And the second approach is to learn how data is structured and stored in contract, fetch the whole account state and parse data. So let's, you can check my examples where public in GitHub. You can scan this QR code and follow me. Okay. In last versions of Ton library, we introduced unified tuple reader and builder. It is shared across 2 clients. So you don't need to change your parsing or serializing logic if you switch clients. Okay, here is the interface of tuple builder and tuple reader. Also, tuple builders and readers are used only for get methods. Okay, let's try. We have get collection data method, and we see what it accepts nothing and returns next item index, content, and owner address. It returns it as a tuple of 3 items. So in v4, at first we need to get last block in blockchain, get its signal, and when run method on this blockchain state for this NFT collection and get collection data. When we need to create a reader from the result and when read items in an order we have in source code. Okay, so we can try it. And it works. Next item index in 1621. Content root is like that, and owner is this address. Okay, and for ton center is the same, except that we don't need to request last block. Okay, let's add arguments to our get method. And here comes tuple builder. In v4, we are creating tuple builder, adding arguments. We come to tuple in the arguments of fancy code, and when calling get method, just like it was in the previous slide, when reading or using the same tuple reader. Okay, and for ton center, it goes like this. But if we don't have specific get methods, you need to, and you know structure of the data in contract, you can fetch the whole account state and parse it yourself. So first we need to look at serialization scheme. Here it is storage scheme. Storage scheme is represented by TLB. TLB is type language binary. Actually comes from Telegram's type language. And type language binaries consist of declarations. Each declaration consists of constructor, list of fields, and type name. Also, here is a QR code. I will talk about storage scheme of the NFT collection. You can scan QR code and learn more about TLB on ton.org. Okay, so the TLB collection has owner address in storage. After comes next item index with the type of uint 64. When goes reference with two reference inside with collection content and command content. Let's call it content root. Okay, and next reference is NFT item code, and the last one is royalty params. And let's write parser for the state. We are getting some data cell from somewhere when converting it to a slice using begin parse, and when loading data step by step. But as you can see, here is royalty params, and the scheme for royalty params is specified also in the TLB, so we can parse it too. And here comes following code. Also, I recommend do not pass slices to function arguments, because slices are mutable, but cells are not. So everywhere where you can pass a cell, pass a cell. And when we need to combine with a piece. So in before way, we get an account when checking that account is active. And after that, parsing data cell, passing it to our function. For ton center, we are doing everything the same, just difference in parsing cell. So in IPv4, we have base 64 encoded cell, and in ton center, that cell calls in buffer. Okay. What method to use? I suppose using get methods everywhere, because if you don't have a source code of contract, and you cannot be sure that data is structured the way it is in standard implementation of contract. For example, you have two NFT collections. One NFT collection is basic, and second one is custom. you cannot be sure that in custom collection data is structured the same way like it is in standard. So only get methods are standardized. And let's bring it all together. We have an interface contract in library. You can implement it and add methods prefixed with get or send, and we should consume contract provider as the first argument, like this. So we create an NFT collection, and here is our methods. Get collection data, get NFT address by index, get NFT content, and get contract state. Get contract states represents parsing full contract state. Let's show the implementation. So we can have init, but we require address. We can create a contract from address or from init, or just derive address from init. And it is just the same as we did before. But using contract provider, we don't depend on any client. Okay, now we can use any client to open it and just use familiar with. I want to introduce Tact. Tact is a next generation programming language specifically designed for ton contracts. And you can implement contracts like that. So it has inheritance, and to implement JSON, we just need to inherit it and then create some custom logic. So, and getting data from Tact contract is very, very, very easier when getting from fancy contract. Because Tact compiler produces not only contract code, it gives you TLB and ABI and TypeScript interface, and even the simple documentation with TLB. So let me show. I have copied JSON from Tact examples, and here it is. So we can see TLB schemes for anything in contract. Also for an operations as well. And for JSON meter, get methods also with arguments. It is very good. Also, it produces TypeScript interface with error mapping. So you will get text errors if you are using this interface. And with messages. And also here it is our get methods. We don't need to write it. They are auto-generated. They are provided by compiler. And as I said before, you don't need to worry about data structure and even about which client to use. So here we are just creating a JSON contract and using its get methods. And that's all. I'm ready to answer. Here are some links to DoraHacks chat, to my examples, to Tact discussion group, and to TLB overview. So zoom in code examples. How to read exotic cells? That's a good question. Ton library supports exotic cells. exotic cell is a Merkle proof of the cell it represents. So you cannot read a real exotic cell, you can check its hash. Why you need to pass exotic cell to get method? Okay. He asked me to wait 30 minutes to answer him. So, any more questions? What disadvantages does the Tact have comparing to FunC? Now, Tact is not developed as good as FunC, but it is progressing. Now it has native bindings to FunC, and you can import FunC library. So maybe only the gas consumption, but Tact work group is working on it, and maybe soon Tact contracts will consume a smaller amount of gas than FunC. I see many people who won't see the code. So Rift, what is Rift? I don't know anything about Rift. Everyone who asked about the code, just scan QR with examples. Or Python implementation. Or as for me, I use only TypeScript, and I'm not familiar with Python libraries, so I can't say anything about Rift. Yeah, got it. Yes, I will share it to chat. Okay, shared for links. I see a question. Let me answer. If one wants to build a smart contract analytics solution, but probably want to store interaction data in the contract's data cell and provide it to external frontend. But this can cause the data to be accumulated in the contract, which will lead to a constantly increasing storage fees. Get methods can't modify the contract data, so the question is, would it be more preferable to provide analytics data with get methods and expose methods that clear the temporary data, or replace get methods with the method that returns analytics data and clears it from the contract? So I suppose you should parse transactions or parse child contracts. So in ton, like NFTs are implemented, like jetons are implemented. You have a collection contract and many small item contracts. So I suppose you should avoid large data structures in your contracts. Why you cannot do it? How can you get all price data? Price data should be taken from text contract. So AMM contract have a price in the get method. Maybe it depends on implementation of DEX. So you can to make a chart, you can just find the blocks just for a week, like key block for 1 day, and when a request get methods for the block, and then build 7 points at a different time. So you can build a chart. No, you don't need to set up a full node. You can, and you can use IPv4. It implements a method to find the block by time, and you can request a contract state for a specific block. So it's possible using v4. Okay, guys, waiting for more questions. What you would recommend to learn the ton library? Is there a way where and how best to look for information and examples of open source products? Interesting how to onboard people who never used TypeScript before. What do you recommend? That's a good question. Documentation for ton library is in development, but the best way to learn now is to read the source code, read the interfaces which TypeScript provides, and ask experts in chats. Also, it has some documentation, but I'm not sure that it's full. Is there some things that could not be currently implemented using Tact? I don't think so. Tact now can be used to develop any type of contract. As you can see in examples, Tact team was implemented a large variety of contracts. So in your case, I can suggest just to clear data which you don't need to use. You can do it just like off-chain or on every request on-chain. So just maintaining your map, or not to be a large one. No, it's not possible to debug fancy code locally with breakpoints. We don't have any tools. At first, we need to implement virtual machine which supports breakpoints. Maybe it would be a reference C++ implementation, or it can be TypeScript implementation. But now we don't have any solution. What is the best way to debug fancy code? Yeah, Roman asked faster than me. You should use ton contract executor or sandbox or ton emulator. We have a variety of tools which emulates ton virtual machine or even the full transactions cycle. So select the tool you need for your purposes. How long it took for you to learn fancy? Oh, a couple of days. Actually, I didn't have that option. The point is that I should learn fancy. I must. Oh, can you share about your professional developer journey and how you ended up joining ton.js? Oh, yes. Actually, I'm working from the age of 13. At first, I worked in a local company which develops products for government. And after 2 years, I left it. I left it to a small startup which sells audiobooks. I worked here for a year. I worked with a former VK developer. It is a guy who developed a VK Messenger for desktop. He was very cool specialist, and he taught me how to build code, how to write clean, and how to learn fast. And after that, I joined OpenLand. OpenLand was a good Combinator startup founded by Yuri Lifshitz and Steve Korshakov. And Steve was my second teacher. He's a great engineer. He's a dedicated engineer, and he works a lot. Actually, he wrote ton library, he wrote Tact compiler, And everything I shown to you, it is his work. Okay, so after Openland, I came to the Russian startup as a tech lead. I was responsible for web and backend, built small team. And then I had an idea to make mining pool on Ton. But I need partners, and I see that Steve was in some Ton chats at that point, and he wrote to me and asked me what I'm doing on Ton. I said mining pool. He said, right, we can help you. They provided me a mining form. We connected it to my mining pool, and my journey into Velos began. So after that, I was doing a lot of things in Ton Velos. Actually, at first time, my only work was mining pool, and when Steve developed staking pool, then Ton Hub, and when we launched NFT, and now I'm here. What does one need to be viral with? We want to use Tact in production before it reaches its first production-ready release. Actually, you can use it in production now, but you should to check what this generates. It generates fancy code, and you can review it before deployment. I have a contract in production written on Tact, and it works properly. Is there any tool that matches one-to-one fifth or Tact code with corresponding TVM opcodes? We have the compiler. It disassembles contract code and produces fifth-like code, but it is not one-to-one tool, so it is approximate code. How old are you? I'm 20 years old. Oh, yes, Tact is test-friendly language. Question was, is Tact test-friendly language? You can use ton contract executors, libraries. I said before about them. Also, now we have Tact overview on ton.org docs. I will share it to Q&A chat. It is good news. Thank you, Roman.
All right, I think that's all the questions that we had coming in. If there are any additional questions from our community members as well as developers, we certainly welcome them to be posted on our Telegram channels. And Dan, including other developers, will also be monitoring to help out the hackathon participants. So Dan, thank you so much for this session. And we have 2 more days left of the onboarding week. So starting tomorrow, we will be covering the exciting world of Telegram web apps. So specifically, we will cover authorization of web apps using Ton Connect tomorrow. And then on Sunday, we will have creating your first Ton/Telegram web apps inside the Ton ecosystem. So please join us tomorrow at 8 a.m. British time. And happy building on Ton. Thank you, Dan, again.
Thank you, Justin. Also, I want to mention that you can tag me in the DoraHacks chats, and I will see your question as fast as possible.
Awesome. Thank you for offering that.
Thank you, Justin, for inviting me.